The woman who threw food at the poor car cleaner had no idea. She was humiliating the owner of the largest car company in the country. Just minutes later, the truth would leave the entire showroom speechless. But before that unforgettable moment, this is how it all started. 1 week earlier, at the headquarters of the country's biggest car company, a billionaire made an unusual decision. He wanted to discover who respected people, even when they had nothing to gain. The next morning, the billionaire walked into his own showroom wearing the simple uniform of a cleaner. Not a single employee recognized the man who had built the company from the ground up. To everyone around him, he was just another worker with no power and no importance. But that was exactly what he wanted them to believe. He wasn't there to inspect the expensive cars or count the day's profits. He had come to discover something money could never buy: people's true character. Because a person's real personality isn't revealed when they meet a billionaire. It's revealed by how they treat someone they think has nothing. As the days passed, the billionaire quietly watched the people around him without revealing who he truly was. Every smile, every harsh word, and every small act of kindness became part of the lesson he was learning. Some employees walked past him as though he didn't even exist. To them, a cleaner was invisible, someone who deserved no greeting, no respect, and no attention. But the young man never complained or defended himself. He believed that patience often reveals truths that anger can never uncover. Every time someone looked down on him, they were unknowingly revealing the kind of person they really were. Little did they know, the quiet cleaner was already discovering who deserved a place in the future of his company. Then, among all the employees, one person quietly caught his attention. She wasn't the loudest, the richest, or the most popular person in the showroom. Every morning, she greeted everyone with the same warm smile. It didn't matter whether they were customers, managers, security guards, or cleaners. She believed that respect should never depend on someone's job title. To her, every person deserved kindness because every person had value. As the disguised billionaire watched her from a distance, he smiled to himself. For the first time since beginning his secret test, he knew he had found someone whose character was more valuable than money. Every morning before starting her work, she would walk over to the quiet cleaner with a cheerful smile. She never expected anything in return, because kindness was simply part of who she was. While others judged people by their uniforms, she looked beyond appearances. She understood that a person's position could never measure the value of their heart. The disguised billionaire noticed that her kindness was never for attention. She acted the same whether someone was watching or not, and that was exactly what impressed him. Deep inside, he began to wonder if she was the kind of person his company truly needed. Because great businesses are not built only by talented employees, they are built by people with integrity, humility, and compassion. But not every heart inside the showroom was filled with kindness. There was one employee who believed respect should only be given to people with wealth and power. She admired expensive suits, luxury cars, and important job titles. To her, a cleaner was someone too ordinary to deserve even a simple smile. Every time she walked past him, her words became colder, and her attitude became harsher. She never imagined that the quiet man holding a mop was carefully observing every choice she made. Sometimes pride can make a person feel powerful for a moment, but sooner or later, the truth has a way of revealing who truly deserves respect. As the days went by, her disrespect only became worse. She believed that wearing an expensive suit made her more important than everyone else around her. Whenever the cleaner walked nearby, she never missed an opportunity to embarrass him. She spoke to him with arrogance, convinced that people in low positions deserved to be looked down upon. But the humble cleaner never argued, never raised his voice, and never returned her insults. He simply smiled and continued working, knowing that time always reveals a person's true character. She thought she was humiliating an ordinary cleaner in front of the entire showroom. Yet with every cruel word she spoke, she was unknowingly writing the very reason her future in the company was about to change forever. Despite all the insults and humiliation, the quiet cleaner never allowed bitterness to enter his heart. He understood that true strength is not shown by winning arguments, but by mastering your own emotions. Every harsh word spoken against him became another lesson about the people working in his company. While they believed they were judging a poor cleaner, they were actually revealing the values they carried inside. The kind employee continued treating him with respect, while the arrogant businesswoman continued treating him with contempt. Without realizing it, both women were slowly shaping the futures that awaited them. The billionaire smiled quietly as he polished another luxury car, because he knew the day of truth was getting closer, and when it arrived, the entire showroom would discover that character is worth far more than wealth. Then one afternoon, during the employees' lunch break, the atmosphere inside the showroom suddenly changed. What began as an ordinary day was about to become the moment that everyone would remember for the rest of their lives. The quiet cleaner sat alone with a simple homemade meal, grateful for what little he had. While others enjoyed expensive lunches and laughed together, he asked for nothing except a peaceful moment. But the arrogant businesswoman couldn't stand the sight of him sitting nearby. She believed that someone wearing a cleaner's uniform didn't deserve to eat where the rest of the employees were gathered. With everyone watching, she walked straight toward him, carrying her lunch. No one spoke, no one moved, because within the next few seconds, one cruel decision would change her life forever. Without saying a single word, the businesswoman stopped directly in front of the quiet cleaner. The entire cafeteria slowly fell silent as every employee sensed that something was about to happen. She looked at his simple lunchbox with a mocking smile, unable to understand why someone she considered insignificant would dare sit among the office staff. In her heart, she believed respect belonged only to people with expensive suits and powerful positions. The disguised billionaire gently closed his lunchbox and looked up at her with calm eyes. Even after days of humiliation, he still chose patience over anger, knowing that true character is revealed in moments of pressure. No one realized they were about to witness the biggest mistake of her career, because within the next few seconds, the woman who looked down on a humble cleaner would unknowingly challenge the owner of the entire company. With a look of pure contempt, the businesswoman slowly lifted her lunch tray and pushed the cleaner's simple meal off the table. The food spilled onto the floor as a loud gasp echoed throughout the cafeteria. She believed she had just taught an ordinary cleaner his place, but in reality, she had just revealed the arrogance that had been hidden behind her expensive suit and confident smile. The disguised billionaire looked down at the meal he had carefully prepared that morning. Instead of shouting or seeking revenge, he quietly bent down and began picking up the food with his own hands, leaving everyone around him stunned by his humility. The kind young employee could no longer stay silent as tears filled her eyes. At that very moment, the showroom manager walked into the cafeteria, unaware that he was about to witness an incident that would change the company forever. The showroom manager rushed forward, his face filled with disbelief as he looked at the food scattered across the floor. Before he could ask a single question, every employee lowered their eyes, ashamed of what they had just witnessed. The kind young employee stepped forward with tears in her eyes and gently helped the cleaner gather his meal. In that moment, she proved that true compassion shines brightest when everyone else chooses to remain silent. The arrogant businesswoman simply folded her arms and smiled with confidence. She was certain that no one would ever question her actions, because, in her mind, she was far more important than a humble cleaner. But standing quietly in the corner, the disguised billionaire realized his test had finally come to an end. The truth was about to be revealed, and within minutes, everyone in the showroom would discover that the man they had humiliated was the owner of the entire company. The showroom manager slowly turned toward the arrogant businesswoman, his disappointment written across his face. He could not believe that someone wearing the company's uniform had treated another human being with such cruelty. "Is this how you represent this company?" he asked in a calm but powerful voice. For the first time that day, the confidence on her face began to disappear. The disguised billionaire quietly stood up, brushed the dust from his clothes, and thanked the kind employee for helping him. Even after everything that had happened, he chose gratitude instead of anger, showing a level of character that no title or wealth could ever buy. As silence filled the cafeteria once again, a black luxury car slowly pulled up outside the showroom entrance. None of the employees realized that the next person to walk through those doors was about to reveal a truth that would change every life in that room forever. Just as the silence became unbearable, the doors of the showroom slowly opened. Every employee instinctively turned around, wondering why several luxury vehicles had suddenly arrived at the same time. A group of senior executives stepped inside, dressed in elegant business suits and carrying important company documents. Without saying a word to anyone else, They walked straight toward the humble cleaner with expressions of deep respect. The entire showroom froze as the lead executive stopped in front of the cleaner and bowed his head slightly. "Good afternoon, sir. The board meeting is ready whenever you are," he said, his voice filled with respect. In that single moment, every face in the room changed. The woman who had mocked the cleaner felt her heart sink, because she had just discovered that the man she humiliated was the billionaire owner of the entire car company. Not a single person dared to speak. The showroom that had been filled with whispers only moments before was now completely silent as the shocking truth settled into everyone's hearts. The arrogant businesswoman stood frozen, unable to believe what she had just witnessed. Every cruel word she had spoken, every insult she had thrown, and every act of disrespect replayed in her mind like a painful memory. The billionaire slowly removed his blue cleaner's cap and looked around the room with calm, compassionate eyes. He wasn't angry because this secret test had never been about catching people making mistakes. It had always been about discovering who they truly were. Then he took a deep breath and spoke his first words as the owner of the company. "Today, I didn't come here to inspect luxury cars. I came here to inspect the hearts of the people who represent this company." The billionaire slowly looked around the room, meeting the eyes of every employee who had judged him by his uniform. There was no anger on his face, only disappointment that people could forget the importance of treating others with dignity. He then turned toward the kind young employee who had offered him water, greeted him every morning, and helped him when everyone else stood silent. Her kindness had never been an act to impress anyone, it came from a heart that genuinely cared for people. "In this company," he said with a gentle smile, "skills can be taught, but character cannot. A person who respects everyone, regardless of their position, is the kind of leader this company needs." Then, in front of the entire showroom, he made a decision that no one expected. "Starting today, you are promoted," he announced, as the room erupted into complete shock. The billionaire slowly turned toward the arrogant businesswoman who could no longer hold back her tears. The confidence she once carried had disappeared, replaced by deep regret and the painful weight of her own actions. Trembling, she stepped forward and lowered her head before the man she had humiliated. I'm so sorry," she whispered, realizing that no amount of success could erase the importance of treating others with respect. The billionaire remained silent for a moment before speaking with calm wisdom. "I'm not disappointed because you insulted me," he said. "I'm disappointed because you believe someone's uniform determined their worth." His words echoed through the silent showroom, touching every heart in the room. At that moment, every employee understood that true greatness is measured not by wealth or position, but by the kindness we show to others. The billionaire looked around the silent showroom one last time before making his final decision. Every employee stood listening carefully, knowing they were about to receive a lesson they would never forget. "Today has shown me something very important," he began. "A company is not judged by the number of luxury cars it sells, but by the way its people treat one another." He turned to the kind young employee and smiled with pride. "From this day forward, you will lead this branch not because you are perfect, but because your kindness, honesty, and respect inspire others to become better." Then he faced the rest of the staff with calm determination. "From today onward, let this company be known not only for building great cars, but for building great people. That will always be our greatest success." As the sun began to set outside the showroom, everyone stood in complete silence, reflecting on everything they had witnessed that day. The lesson they had learned was far more valuable than any luxury car the company had ever sold. The billionaire smiled warmly at his employees, not because they had been perfect, but because every mistake had become an opportunity to grow. He believed that a person's future should be shaped by the lessons they choose to learn, not only by the mistakes they have made. Before leaving, he turned around one final time and spoke words that no one in the showroom would ever forget. "Never judge a person by their uniform, their job, or the money they have, because greatness is hidden in the heart, not in appearance." From that day forward, the showroom became known not only for its beautiful cars, but for the respect, kindness, and compassion shared by everyone inside. And the story of the billionaire who disguised himself as a humble cleaner became a reminder that true success begins with how we treat others. Respect is free, but its value is priceless. Treat every person with kindness, because you never know who they truly are.